Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing Portrait of a Lady on Fire, specifically the last 10 minutes of the movie, so spoiler warnings ahead. Also, I came dressed for the occasion, or as best as I could. Okay, let's get straight into it. Portrait of a Lady on Fire is a French film directed by Céline Sciamma. Set in late 18th century France, it follows the story of Marianne, who is a young painter commissioned to paint a portrait of Eloise. Now let's break this down piece by piece. The two women share another pause of longing and yearning as they stare at each other once again after Marianne is paid for her portrait. The angle is then focused on the mother as she waits for Eloise to follow her. And it's interesting because we see her standing in this huge room with tall walls, tall ceilings, and this huge window, yet there's nothing else in the background. The director does this a lot, with shots having little to no props in the background. This could be because of the time period, as people wouldn't have had a lot of belongings, but it also forces the audience to focus on the characters, as there's really only 4 characters. Before Eloise leaves the room, she looks back, another motif of the Orpheus and Eurydice story. Hi, so I'm editing right now, and I just realized that it's pronounced Eurydice, not Eurydice, and I pronounced it wrong the whole video, so just ignore that because I'm aware it's wrong. Thank you. Which is explained in the film, so go back to these timestamps if you don't remember. Marianne says goodbye to Eloise's mother, but she looks at Eloise the entire time she's hugging her, almost as if that's what she wants to do when she hugs Eloise goodbye. But she knows that if she hugs her for too long, she wouldn't be able to let go. When Marianne hugs Eloise goodbye, it's brief but passionate, almost a metaphor for their entire relationship. When Marianne leaves the building, Eloise yells out, "Retourne-toi?"
Retourne-toi.
But this translates to turn around. This is very important because throughout the film, Marianne and Eloise use formal language, vous meaning you, when addressing each other. This linguistic choice becomes particularly significant as it persists throughout various stages of their relationship, including moments of emotional intimacy and even after Marianne paints Eloise. The continued use of formal language contrasts with the increasing emotional intimacy between the characters, highlighting an unspoken tension or societal constraint that persists in their interactions. However, when Eloise yells turn around, she says toi instead of vous, which is informal, reflecting a significant shift in their relationship. This symbolizes urgency and serves as a powerful declaration of her feelings. Not only is this scene here important because of the linguistic change, but also because we finally see Eloise in the white dress that Marianne has been picturing throughout the whole film. Each time Marianne sees this ghost of Eloise, she's silent and often standing in a doorway or a corridor. She's lit with a theatrical artificiality, with a muted palette and natural lighting, compared to the rest of the film, and is frightening in its intimacy. The threat of Eloise's separation from Marianne and her impending marriage is drawn literally from Marianne's imagination, in which the ghostly vision has crept beyond the two-dimensional canvas to encroach into the cinematic world. The scene takes place in the liminal transitory space of the hallway, with Marianne pausing on the threshold of the door and Eloise stopping on the stairs. Like the Eurydice she imagines when reading Ovid, Eloise calls out Marianne to turn around. The artist does so, acknowledging Eloise in her wedding clothes and so cementing their respective and separate fates. After the scene, we are brought back to the beginning of the film, where Marianne is teaching an art class. The mise-en-scène in this scene is still very minimal, almost boring. With only a few sculptures, canvases, and sheets in the background, it forces the audience to focus on Marianne. Following this scene is the second last setting of the film in this beautiful art gallery. While the scene is busy with hundreds of paintings and people in the background, there's a shallow depth of field so that the background is blurry and the audience is only focused on Marianne. There's a tracking shot of Marianne walking through the crowd to her painting, which is in her father's name. Let's still remember it's the 18th century. The audience sees the painting and we assume it's hers because it's in the center of the frame. However, we don't actually get to see the entire painting, as Marianne is standing half in front of it and the top half of it is cropped out of the frame. If you're anything like me, you probably didn't even realize what the painting was until that random guy came along and said it was of Orpheus and Eurydice. Marianne casts herself as Orpheus in the painting, as it reflects the memory of the last glimpse of Eloise as she left the house. Orpheus makes the poet's choice in turning around and Marianne makes the artistic choice. Art allows Marianne to share her queer female gaze, to publicize it, and to put it in conversation with men. She is limited in the scope of her exposure rather than influence, submitting major pieces of art in her father's name because it will get broader recognition, but its innovation is recognized nevertheless. Marianne then looks at the pamphlets of the rest of the works before one catches her eye. There's a dolly shot moving into the painting as people move out of the way until we see what the painting is. Eloise and a young girl we can only assume is her daughter. Then we get a close-up of Marianne with a shallow depth of field looking at the painting. We can see her breath quicken and there's a close-up of Eloise's face. Also, let's just take a moment to appreciate the artist that made all the paintings and sketches for this film. Hélène Dumas did all of them, and apparently she painted for about 16 hours every day during filming, which is insane. The camera pans down the length of the painting to the little girl and the book in Eloise's hand. Then there is another close-up on Marianne's face where we see a breath get caught in her throat. Initially, the audience thinks it's because she realizes that she has a daughter now, but no. Then there is an extreme close-up of the book that she's holding, and it's opened slightly to page 28. Page 28 is, of course, the page in which Marianne sketched herself for Eloise to remember her by in her copy of Orpheus and Eurydice. Though she is not an artist, she has found a way to capture her experience with Marianne in a painting of her as a married woman and with a daughter. Posing with her fingers marking page 28. Is this a message to Marianne, an expression of queerness, or both? This isn't just a way of Eloise telling Marianne that she remembers her too, it's recalling a specific version, like how Eloise gives Marianne one less perfect memory by using informal French and allowing her to see her in white, just as Marianne had visions of. Eloise including the number 28 shows Marianne the perfect moment between them. She is choosing to hold in her memory and showing that no matter the artist, Marianne is the one who truly sees her. Eloise's painting calls out to Marianne, their shaped bond physically broken but immortalized on canvas as it is in their memories and hearts. Director Celine Sciamma also said this about the meaning of page 28, which I just found so beautiful. There's the mystery also because this number didn't mean anything before the film, but it will suddenly. It is that language that you would now speak in a world you become part of. It belongs to the film but will live beyond the film. I want people to get page 28 tattoos. I wonder if anyone will hide notes on that page. I know that now when I want to hide something in a book, I'll put it on page 28. We get a close-up of Marianne, and she smiles with tears in her eyes as she realizes what page 28 means. Then there's a voiceover saying that she sees Eloise one last time. The setting changes a final time to this beautiful theater where the orchestra is playing. Marianne enters and awkwardly shuffles past everyone in the row to get to her seat. She looks around in awe until suddenly she's frozen and her breath catches again. Without needing to change the angle or anything, the audience knows this is the moment where she sees Eloise again. Sure enough, there's Eloise, shuffling past everyone in her row, exactly like Marianne did. Marianne looks over at her, yearning. She says that Eloise didn't see her, disappointment clear in her voice.
Elle ne m'a pas vue.
In the background, we see a chandelier of candles and a row of candles below the stage. How everything in the 18th century didn't just burn to the ground, I have no idea. When we see this close-up of Marianne, half her face is shrouded in shadow. This film only uses natural lighting without including in this scene. Yet it's very interesting. It truly highlights the anger that she must be feeling at the fact that she can't just jump into Eloise's arms and kiss her and tell her how much that she misses her. She just has to sit there knowing that it'll probably be the last time that she ever sees her. The orchestra begins to play Vivaldi's Four Seasons, in case you're wondering, which is the same song that Marianne tried to play Eloise earlier in the film, but did a shit job at. Not that I could do any better.
L'histoire d'un orage qui monte. Je l'ai en tête, mais je ne trouve pas. Vous entendrez la suite. Milan est une ville de musique.
Alors vivement Milan.
The frame is still a close-up of Marianne's face and she begins to smile. Is she smiling because she really likes the song? Or is she smiling because she knows how long Eloise has been waiting to hear it in person? Now, the final shot of the whole film, and probably one of the most famous. It's 2 minutes in total and it's just a slow pan in to Eloise as she listens to the song play. You can see every emotion in her face as the camera gets closer. Her breath quickens and then she begins to cry and trying to maintain composure at the same time. Then she finally smiles, relaxes, and the film ends. I found this thread on Reddit where someone says that they went to a Q&A with director Celine Sciamma, and someone asked whether she thought about adding another shot or reverse shot at the end of the film where Eloise looks over at Marianne. She said she did think about it, but she thought it wouldn't fit the goal as much. The song choice is obviously because it holds the memory of Marianne. The piece itself is about a perfect summer's day being interrupted by a storm. Marianne is once again cast into the role of Orpheus, left with nothing but being able to gaze upon her love. As the music swells and the camera zooms in on Eloise's face, Portrait of a Lady on Fire returns to the art of gazing. For anyone else, Eloise may look like any other concertgoer, but through Marianne's eyes, the viewer sees Eloise as Marianne does. Every emotion and expression dancing upon her face, pain and joy, sorrows and smiles, complementing and contradicting one another. It is the way only someone who truly loves someone can see, which is all Marianne can do now, to look and remember without regret. And that's the end of the film. Director Celine Sciamma said that she wanted to question what a happy ending is, saying, "We have the romantic comedy philosophy, a frozen image of two people being together, and we also have the tragic ending, in I Wanted Neither. Why do we believe that the eternal possession of somebody means a happy ending? Love educates us about art. Art consoles us from lost love. Our great love is a condition of our future." The film is a memory of a love story. It's sad, but also full of hope. I also wanted to quickly question why Marianne chose to paint Eloise on fire. There were so many beautiful moments that they shared together, but she chose to paint that one. I have a few theories as to why. One being that fire is a metaphor for love being all-consuming but also dangerous. Another one being that being on fire and being close to death can make someone feel the most alive. And before Eloise and Marianne met each other, they were both just living, but ever since they were together, they have felt alive. Another theory is that seeing her on fire made her realize the danger of their love and the risk that if anyone found out, they could be possibly burned at the stake. Being burned at the stake was a common form of execution at the time, usually for someone accused of being a witch, and sometimes gay women were just accused of being witches. So, there you have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this film. Did you cry? Did you like it? What are some of your opinions and theories? Have you watched any other of Celine Sciamma's films? Also, let me know what other movies you want me to cover next. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.